Hi guys, I'm Anita and I'm back with another video, and today I'm going to be doing the mid-year book freakout tag, which has been floating around on BookTube for a while now. Like, everyone seems to have done it, and I debated back and forth if I wanted to do it as well, because I was like, I just posted a recap of what I read over spring and sort of did a wrap up in that way. But in this way we get more answers to things also that I probably didn't enjoy as much, and sort of what I'm looking forward to in the next part of the year. So I decided to go along and do this tag. I also did it last year, so maybe that's a good thing to do this every year. And just so know, I wouldn't recommend go and watch the last year's video, because I barely started my BookTube channel and it was a little, yeah, I was speaking very slowly and kind of awkward. I will say though that last year at this time I had read a whole lot of more books that I think will be in my top 5 of the year. I actually think the first 4 at least, of my favorite books last year, I read those in the first half of the year. But this year I don't feel like I have so many over the top books as I did last year, but I still have read quite a few really good ones. Let's get into the questions. There are 15 or 16 of those. The first question is the best book you've read so far this year, and for me that's going to be Stories of Your Life and Others by Chet Chang. I really enjoyed this. It's a short story collection, so that's why I have tabs in them. I just keep the tabs to show the ratings, sort of if I forget what they're about or something, how I like them. There were a couple of 4-star ratings, and there was one story that was only like 5 pages that was really difficult to rate, but overall I just love these stories so much, and they were put together really well, and it showed different ways of Ted Chiang as an author, and I really appreciated that. And I will have a review up of this pretty soon. I don't know when I'll film it, probably tomorrow or something like that, so it will be up over this week. That's at least what I'm planning on. And I felt like this need a singular review because I would like to just show some light to every story in there, and if I'm going to do that in a wrap up, it's going to be taking up a lot of time, and there needs to be more people reading this book. Even though it's already been read by a lot of people, I think even more should be able to know what this book is about. The next question is what is your best sequel, and I'm a little unsure what defines a sequel. Can it just be a next book in a series, or does it only can it only be like the second book in the sequel after the first book in the series? I'm a little unsure about that. If it's the latter of the option, the last of the options, then I'm gonna go with Down Among the Sticks and Bone by Sean McGuire. I really thought this was a solid sequel. Really enjoyed it and gave it 5 stars. But if it can be any series next books that I read that was my favorite overall this year so far, then it's gonna have to be Changes by Jim Butcher, the 12th book in the Dresden Files series. This just was the perfect Dresden books. It was amazing. Everything that happened in this had a pretty good purpose towards the story, and I was hooked from the first page to the last page of this. So many things went down in this book, and I really enjoyed it, and it was my favorite book of the first quarter of this year. The next question is a new release you haven't read yet but that you really want to, and for this one I'm gonna have to go with, I have a couple of these, but what I'm gonna go with this time is The Bone Witch. I really want to get to this. It's sort of with necromancy and witches, and I really like that, and I love the cover. But I've wrapped it up, so I don't know where it is now, so that's why I can't show you the cover. But I really am excited to get to this. Hopefully I'll get to it soon and find it in my stack of books. But yeah, definitely a book that I'm hoping to get to soon. And question number 4 is my most anticipated read from the second half of the year. And this, I have 2 books in this. One of them I'm probably a little more solid, and I know that this is really a book that I'm so looking forward to. But the other one I'm looking forward to because I really love the author, and I really love the first book, and I want to see what else he can come up with, and I am pretty sure it's going to be pretty cute and fun read. And the books I'm talking about is, first of all, Artemis by Andy Weir. I can't wait to see what else Andy Weir will publish as an author. I love The Martian. Mark Watney is one of my favorite characters of all time, so I'm so looking forward to getting to Artemis and see what this is. Apparently this is sort of a heist story on the moon, and that intrigues me a lot as well, so definitely looking forward to that book. But the other book that is a little less it's kind of a children's story is The Creakers by Tom Fletcher. Tom Fletcher is the author of The Christmas Stories, which I read last year, and I really adored it. It was such a cute little read and such a fun adventurous story, and I love Tom as an author. He's one of my favorite people. He actually is on this shirt. He's the one here in the middle, and yeah, so he's 1/4 of my favorite band as well. So that also probably bumping him up as an author for me. But I actually went into this not expecting too much because I was afraid I would be disappointed. But he actually ended up exceeding my expectations, so that was really amazing. There's a lot more depth in the story than first meets the eye, and yeah, that's what I'm hoping that The Creakers will do as well. It's also a middle grade story, and it follows this girl who is afraid of the things that hides under the bed, and she calls them the creakers, I think. And then one day all of the adults disappear, and it causes a mayhem. All of the kids, they run rampant. They're all excited about being without the adults, but she's really, really sad about it because she already lost her mother, so she's going to do everything in her power to get her father back, or if she lost her father. I don't remember which of her parents it was that got lost. So she's doing everything she can to get her last parent back and find out how that will go. And yeah, so I'm definitely looking forward to this one as well. Question number 5 is, what is your biggest disappointment of the year so far? And for me, that's going to be Omens by Kelly Armstrong. I have read 7 different books by Kelly Armstrong, and all of them, I flew through them. I really love the writing style, I love the characters, I love the pace of the stories, the plots, and all of that, and gave them either 4 or 5 stars, all of them. But then I got into this one, and although the start was really, really strong, I really liked the beginning of this story. It just felt a little repetitive, and I ended up giving this a 2.5 stars, so I was really disappointed with this book overall, and I hope it was just a one-time thing. The biggest surprise for me will have to be Just One Damn Thing After Another. I went into this expecting just a fun read, just to get out of a reading slump for me. Basically, it was an audio, and I had been listening to a couple of bad audios, and I had been hearing lots of great things about the narration of this, so I was looking forward to getting into this. But for me, it was a lot better than that I initially thought it would be, and I'm really looking forward to getting on with the series. I actually already got the second book down on my Audible account, so I'll be getting to that probably in August, and I really look forward to that. And question number 7 is a new favorite author that you discovered this year. And for me, if I have to pick a new author, it has to be either the book was so impactful that I couldn't miss out on the author, or I have to read at least more than one book by the author before I can say that they're part of my favorite authors. Because just because one book is one I really enjoyed, that doesn't mean that I'll eventually love all of the books that they make or write. So I tried looking into the books where I've read multiple books by the author over the year, and the 2 options that came up was Becky Albertalli, and who wrote Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda, and Upside of Unrequited. And then I have Shauna Maguire, who obviously wrote the Wayward Children series, and I also read the first book in her October Day series. And so, because for me, Shauna Maguire is the better of those authors, in my opinion, I can tell that I'm really going to be enjoying her books. I like the writing style, it's really easy to get into, and I'm not the biggest contemporary reader, but I do appreciate what Becky Albertalli has written so far, but I will say Sean McGuire is probably my favorite new author of the year so far. Your newest favorite fictional crush, and I'm going to skip this because I really don't know. I don't really often get book crushes. It happens sometimes, but it's very, very few times it happened, and I don't feel like I read anything this year that makes me want to grant anyone that spot, so I'm gonna skip this one. And the next one is my newest favorite character. I thought about this a lot. I really actually had a hard time this time because I don't think I've read one that had that much of an outstanding character. Last year my favorite character at this point was Mark Watney, so I've already talked about him in this video. So he was pretty obvious for my choice for favorite character, but this year I really had a harder time with this. But this year when I thought about it, one of the characters I'm most invested in at this point and who I really want to succeed in whatever they're trying to do is Team 21 from the Descender series. I really, really am invested in Team 21's as a character. There's a plot going on about him and this boy from the beginning of his life, his childhood thing. They're trying to find each other, and I'm so invested in that storyline. I hope it will follow through in one of the coming volumes, because I really want to see them finding each other again. And so that is probably the character that I'm most invested in, and so he gets the favorite character for this half of the year. The next question is, question number 10 is a book that made you cry, and I actually haven't read a book that made me cry this year so far. I've read a couple of books that made me close to crying, that had me a little choked up, but I didn't read anything that actually made me cry for one. There was a time in Heartbitten by Chloe Neal where I was close to, but I was actually a lot more angry than I was sad at the point. So yeah, and then there was a moment in The Golden Fool, a couple of moments in Golden Fool that got me a little choked up. But I didn't really cry, so none of these really counts. The next question is a book that made you happy, and for that I'm gonna go with Nimona by Noelle Stevenson. This just had me either laughing out loud for the most part, or I was smiling all the way through it. It's one of my absolute favorite graphic novels, if not my favorite graphic novel I've read so far. I really love the art style, but Nimona as a character was really... yeah, it was really nice to see her, and it was one of those I also debated to be my favorite character of the year. But I find myself a little more invested in Team 21's story, but definitely love the humor in this one. It's just my sort of humor that is in this sort of book. It's I absolutely loved it and adored it, and yeah. The next question is favorite book to film adaptation that you've watched this year. I haven't really watched a lot of movies or new books. Book to movie. I really haven't watched any, unless you count Guardians of the Galaxy 2 as a book to movie or a comic book to movie adaptation thing. I'm not sure, but I really love that. But I don't think I can answer this one correctly. The next question is your favorite review that you've written so far this year, and I don't write a lot of reviews, and whenever I do, they're very short and brief, so I will probably skip this question as well. I have done a couple of video reviews of books that I'm happy with, but there's no one I'm insanely proud of at this point, except that I'm happy that I did them, and I feel like I did okay with my reviews, and there are definitely some that I feel like that are better than others, but I don't feel like I can pick one out and say that this was completely amazing. I'm so proud of this one. The next question is the most beautiful cover you've bought so far this year, and this was a little difficult to decide with, but I actually think I'm gonna go with the Bone Witch. Again, I know that I've already chosen this answer, but I really just love that cover, and the back is also really, really pretty. As I obviously can't show you to you, but I'll make sure to rave about it whenever I wrap that book out of my wrapping paper. And the final question is, what books do you need to read by the end of this year? And for that, I have a couple of books. Both those books are probably like last books in the series that I'd like to get through. First of those is Fool's Fate by Robin Hobb. This is one I'm kind of hesitating to pick up because I know it's gonna make me cry. Okay? I don't like crying at books, so knowing that this will probably make me cry a huge deal makes me hesitant about starting this, but I need to get to it. I need to know what's gonna happen to Fitz and the Fool in this trilogy. And I've heard from so many people that this is their favorite Robin Hobb books of all, so I need to find out why that is. Then I also have Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson, so I'll finish up the trilogy of the Mistborn, at least the first part where it's about Vin and Elend and all of the others from that clan. Then I have Grace of Kings by Ken Liu. This is one of this series that I'm really interested in getting started, especially since the second one has got a lot of great reviews recently, and I'm really intrigued to see what this is going to be about. And then I have Cold Days and Skin Games by Jim Butcher, the 14th and 15th book in the Dresden Files, and then I'll be caught up to that series. So those are the books that I'm hoping to get to before this year is over, amongst others, but yeah. So these were all of the questions for this tag. I hope you enjoyed it. It got a little long, this video, and I hope you stuck on to the end. And definitely let me know in the comments down below what your favorite book of the year so far has been. I'd really like to know if it's one of the books that I haven't read yet, and maybe I'll really enjoy it. So definitely give me some recommendations in that area down below. And if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video very soon. Goodbye!